other, and Hesta going to stake his claim, get back to the top. This will be a 10-round affair in super lightweight division.
Rodriguez will not be intimidated. See, he's got that poker face. He's very relaxed in the ring. Not as experienced as Hesta is, but he's well traveled. Traveled to Australia to fight Billy Dibb, who's a former featherweight champ. Traveled to Panama to fight Jezreel Corrales, who went on to win a 130-pound championship and was rated #1 by Ring Magazine at junior lightweight. And he fought Javier Fortuna, who also had a belt, I think, at 130 pounds. And in that fight with Fortuna, Fortuna started out really well and dropped Rodriguez, I believe, in the 3rd round. And Rodriguez picked himself up and fought his way back into that fight. And by the 10th and final round, Fortuna, the heavily favored fighter, was holding on for dear life and running around the ring, and his face was a mess. His face was almost as bad as poor Ferdinand Korobian's was. So Rodriguez is that kind of guy. He doesn't do anything in spectacular fashion, skill-wise or athletically speaking, but he's solid all around, and he's a nose to the grindstone type gatekeeper.
Yeah, and we haven't seen much of it as he has been on the receiving end of the volleys there of Hesta, but this is a guy who takes care of business inside that ring. 25 KOs and 36 fights. We mentioned how well traveled, and again touching on not many fights here in the United States. But he knows how getting on an airplane to meet the challenge many times in the past as we reach the tail end of round 1.
It was a big right hand that Hesta landed from the orthodox stance.
Well, Rodriguez goes down there at the end of the round, and well, we're off and running. Beto Duran, what do we got?
Oh, Mercito Hesta has a big following here in Hollywood. The Filipino fighter also has a huge following in the Philippines. Now, he lives in San Diego, and he trains there. He's actually in the Bay Area when he left the Philippines, but Hesta is a fighter that is very popular. This is from his last fight that Doug and I were called in. I threw out a little kumusta, and it turns out they're having their own, let's just say, impromptu pay-per-view there. The beauty of the Golden Boy Digital team, making sure that everybody can watch you around the world. So they were gathered in the afternoon. This was an evening fight here in Indio, and Hesta said, I loved it. The fans, they come out there and support me. He has a big following. He said, I can't go back to the Philippines, though, because all the money and all the boxing is here in the United States.
It's a great time to be a boxer, and Hesta knows where to be. That was very cool. Thanks for sharing that, Beto. And you know, in the Philippines, they love their box. A pretty draining camp under the tutelage of Freddie Roach, and Hesta had a chance to talk to him about that and what that brings, and not only training against a guy who's seen it all, training with a guy who's seen it all and done it all, but having a stable of fighters that Freddie Roach can bring in specifically for whatever challenge or whatever requirements Hesta needs. Roach has that in his gym.
Yeah, well, it says one thing, that for Freddie Roach to be involved with the fighter, he has to have potential. He has to have that potential to evolve beyond where he is currently. And usually Roach is only going to be involved with somebody who has world-class potential. So that says something about Hesta. But what's the old saying, that steel forges steel?
Yeah, you know, iron sharpens iron.
Iron sharpens iron. You know, Wild Card Boxing Club is a very competitive gym, and it's a world-class gym.
I would add, sometimes you see a guy, as Rodriguez applies the pressure, you see a guy walk in with a title or a trophy. Having Freddie Roach in your corner almost has that similar effect, because you see him and you know that the fighter is of top class.
Yeah, now Rodriguez, not the kind of guy to get intimidated, but you know, having Freddie Roach in your corner, being on Freddie Roach's side, that's got to help the confidence.
Warning there about Juan Rodriguez perhaps leading with the head, and now they're upright.
I like how Rodriguez puts his punches together. He's methodical. You could even describe him as plodding, but the foundation is there. The balance is there. And he gets proper leverage on each of his punches.
Good uppercut there by Hesta, although Rodriguez enjoying a much better round 2 than he did round 1. Not much of the jab there by Hesta. Shoulders out Rodriguez.
Cut blue corner, accidental headbutt.
Excellent headbutt, and headbutt is a dirty expression here tonight. It's altered one fight and caked the outside the apron here of the ring in Ferdinand Korobian's blood. Good combination, Rodriguez.
It's Rodriguez with the combinations, the forward marching aggression. I think he's busier, but it's Hesta landing the more eye-catching punches. Usually just single shots from Hesta.
You see his eyes wide open as he looks to work the angles.
He does that well. I think there's a trickle of blood from the right nostril of Rodriguez.
You are right, Dougie. Good vision on your part. Is Hesta working that jab as we reach the end of round 2? That's a good exchange. All right, end of round 2, and Beto Duran with an interesting story on Rodriguez's footwear.
Yeah, well, he's got his running shoes on, Dougie. I know you do your track workout. Well, Rodriguez forgot to pack his boxing boots. Now, they said it's not a big deal. He's not worried about it because he trains and he spars in these Nike running shoes. These are the real light shoe and has the extra cushion. So when I asked him about it, he's like, yeah, I forgot them, but honestly, I don't really use boxing boots as much as I did in my younger career. He said, it's not that big of a deal to me. Actually, a lot of fighters don't have them. And he said, when I started my career, when there was no money, you think I had boxing boots? I was just sparring in whatever was there.
That's a good point. Initially, I imagine it helps you with a drop of blood on those gray Nikes. It helps you with the movement, but there is some support issues, I would imagine, with having a shoe like that.
Right, you could twist your ankle maybe, but I tell you what, if Rodriguez looks good tonight, I'm going to run out and buy a pair of those Nikes.
He might get a call from Uncle Phil Knight and say, hey man, we're going to move some of those gray Nikes after you keep winning as we look at round 2.
Nice left landed by Rodriguez. I thought that round 2 was a very close round, and I edged it for the Mexican gatekeeper.
It's amazing we've gone this long without mentioning March Madness, but we got a Zion Williamson reference from the truck, and hopefully nothing happens with the shoe with Rodriguez, but they're taking a toll on them early on. I hope you're enjoying March Madness. We would have had a great bracket with the fighters here. Who moves on to the next? Gonna set it up with that right jab again, Hesta.
You know, the great thing about March Madness is the upsets.
Yeah.
There's always a Cinderella team, a Cinderella story or two. And we've had that tonight because Blair Cobbs was the underdog against Ferdinand Korobian. And in our opening fight
we almost had another upset, yeah.
Right. You know, Gonzalez holding Tino Avila to a draw, you know, that could be seen as an upset.
Yeah, and the criticism maybe for fights is where you don't have evenly matched fighters, but clearly on the fights we have seen, they have been evenly matched. The first two, and right now this third fight, Dougie, kind of following that same vein of form.
I agree. Nobody can say otherwise.
It's got to be the shoes. Dated reference. Well, Hesta got caught. Looking to stay within close quarters.
Yeah, Rodriguez is boxing well behind the jab, and he's landing the jab. Not always easy to do against the southpaw, but Rodriguez himself is a southpaw, so
a little headlock there.
Perhaps Hesta doesn't enjoy that advantage, that stance advantage, but nice punches off that jab. He's working the body with both hands, and he's following up his right jab with straight lefts.
Moving along here, round 3, Rodriguez finding some contact, and there was Hesta exposed, and now he is backtracking and catching some more leather.
Rodriguez is not dynamic, but he is consistent. He's a fighter who works for 3 minutes of a round, whereas Hesta likes to get off in little spurts here and there. So if Hesta's going to box like that tonight, he has to make sure those flashes, those flare-ups, those offensive flare-ups, they have to count.
Rodriguez reaching out to catch Hesta. Good body shots and close quarters again, and making a lot of contact with Hesta's face and body.
Hesta's got decent head and upper body movement. It's not easy to nail clean. But Rodriguez lets his hands go so much, Hesta can't avoid them all.
Yeah, he's catching a lot of the side of the head and side of the body, but some contact in the view of Rodriguez, better than none. Now Hesta with a little uppercut, closing moments of round 3.
Cabezazo. Cabezazo.
All right, now it'll be interesting to see what Hesta's corner has to say. Freddie Roach in the ring.
We have to be first, okay? Be first, okay? Be first when you're ready. The jab's working well for you. Keep going, backing him up with the jab, okay? All right? Step to step every time, okay?
All right, replay here, round 3, and
Now Rodriguez working the right hand to the body, follows up with a hook to the head. Started to come over with the right. And here's a left, a sweeping left. Lands right on the right ear of Mercito Hesta.
Freddie Roach telling Hesta, we have to be first. And sometimes for a counterpuncher, that's kind of getting out of what is known, but we'll see if he's more aggressive here in round 4.
No, you can say it. It's out of character.
It's out of character, yeah.
Maybe out of his comfort zone, but that's what he needs to do.
All right, Beto.
Another thing to get worried about is that Rodriguez came into this fight a little bit upset because Hesta came in overweight yesterday by 3 pounds. So they had to redraw the contract. So Rodriguez came in at 134.8. He's like, look, I know the deal. Come to the United States, that's what's going to happen when we redo the contracts. But I don't have respect for him because what I saw on video, what he did against Linares and what he's done with other fighters, said he's pedestrian. He camina. That's what he said. That he just feels like he could attack him and we put pressure on him. Also, Rodriguez is used to sparring middleweights because nobody in his gym will get in with him at his size. So he's been getting paid to spar guys at 160, 165 because he, as I said, aguanta. And also, you'll like this one, Max, le va las Pumas.
We're going to bring a little Liga MX. And remember, Beto, caminante, no hay camino. All right, so round 4. And to talk about the weight, and Hesta looks better than he did in the weigh-in. You can see the wear and tear of the weight cut.
That's not a good sign from Hesta, though.
No.
You got to make weight. It
spot
happens
for him.
too much. Yeah. And the thing is, you know, I believe Hesta is better suited at lightweight than at junior welterweight. So if he can't make 135, he's going to really have his work cut out for him at junior welterweight.
All right, let's get to your scorecard after 3 rounds, Dougie, and you have it 2-1 in favor of Rodriguez.
Yeah, I think Rodriguez was just a more consistent fighter in rounds 2 and 3. He's throwing more and landing more. I thought round 2 was close, however.
Rodriguez much more active in these last 2 rounds. And again, a little blood around that right eye, as you point out, Dougie, although not too much of an issue, although a wild miss there for Rodriguez. He starts to prowl a bit. Rodriguez coming in hot, catching a little bit. Again, not super clean. Hesta, not a stationary target by any means.
Yeah, Hesta is making Rodriguez miss. He's just not making him pay enough, and he's not heeding his coach.
No, he's not being first.
Freddie said be first.
Frustrating, I think, certainly from the Hesta camp, to not see a more active fighter here as we're moving right along in round 4 of 10, and a big left by Rodriguez. That one caught him clean, and now he looks for more. Oh, and a good response, the best punch maybe of the night from Hesta. Big right hook, and that brings the end of a fast finishing round number 4. All right, we are interactive here and get to the Golden Boy social media to be involved. This from Marquise Johns. Main event time for Golden Boy and DAZN. Juan Rodriguez, after a long layoff against Mercito G, should steal the show. What's been a fun night of fights. Those are strong words, because stealing the show after we saw in the co-main event is going to be
real hard to beat. Both guys are going to have to step it up.
All right, who is going to win, Gesta or Rodriguez? The Twitter poll, you've been weighing in, and thanks for getting involved. And Rodriguez had a slight edge earlier. 10,000 votes, and all you voting, I hope you're tuning in to watch a great night of Thursday night fights. This is going to keep going on from here. Gesta with the edge, 52-48. I know my good friend Jonathan Coachman wish he would be here to see this action ringside at Avalon Hollywood. And I think everyone who's come in here are going to get their Hollywood evening plans off to a great start. Filled to the brim, standing room only. Gesta in, they both have orange, Gesta in the orange boots, I think should help. And we already told the story of the gray shoes of Rodriguez. That's a nice right hook from Gesta. Rodriguez comes back with the left.
Yeah, and he set it up with a double jab.
Continues with that jab, and Gesta caught him coming in, knocking sweat off. Combinations flying in. Now he's being first.
And you're seeing the speed and the fluidity and those eye-catching headshots. That's what judges like. And of course, in Rodriguez, you're seeing the fundamentals, just boxing basics.
Gesta working that jab now. Rodriguez a little unbalanced there. More from the jab. Big left from Rodriguez. Caught their own jab.
Rodriguez was well schooled. And you add to that being well traveled and well tested, well, you get a serviceable gatekeeper. The kind of veteran that goes in there and asks questions of young up-and-comers or fringe contenders like Gesta, who people aren't sure whether or not they can be a legit top 10 contender. Well, you got to beat a guy like Rodriguez to be considered a real contender.
Rodriguez would love to take the keys to that gate and open it up and walk on through himself. A victory over Gesta may facilitate that.
That would be the start of something.
That is a great notch on a record. A globally recognized fighter like Gesta.
You know, it happens in boxing. Sometimes there's these veterans who lose as much as they win, and they're considered gatekeepers for a long time, and then they go on a win streak, and sometimes they win world titles. Sometimes they're Ring Magazine Fighter of the Year. We had that with Glenn Johnson. Glenn Johnson had a bunch of losses, 10 or 11 losses, and then he had a year where he won the light heavyweight championship and knocked out Roy Jones Jr. And
Miami's own Glenn Johnson.
Yep, exactly. And, a guy who just recently retired from Las Vegas, Ishe Smith. He was a gatekeeper for a long time. Won a world title at 154 pounds.
Gesta's father and nervous Freddie Roach in the background, but Gesta's dad's eyes tell the story. They need to see more. Gesta's head a little slower than Rodriguez sensed it.
It was a nice right hand landed by Gesta.
And again with the right.
Gesta outworked, but he's landed the eye-catching punches in this round.
Again, that right is the bread and butter for Gesta in this round. Active round 5, halfway through our 10-round main event. DJ Susie. It is, by the way, the volume level here through the roof. It's loud. You sense it. Visceral reaction to the music, the lights. It's a great night. And the fans enjoying it here at Avalon. Coming down from San Fernando Valley. Look at DJ Susie's her perch up there. He's got a cut of his own, minor, but a cut nonetheless that needs some attention.
Yeah, at least it's on the outside. If it does bleed, it probably won't get into the eyeball.
A brief hearing there from Freddie Roach. He seems a little more optimistic about Hesta's work.
Beautiful left cross landed by Rodriguez. Rodriguez slips a punch, lands that left cross, just misses with the right hook.
That cut, we're being told, the product of a headbutt between the fighters. As we look at Doug's scorecard through 5, it is close. Hesta 3 rounds to 2. Winning the last 2 rounds.
Yes, but you know, I thought round 4, which I scored for Hesta, was very close. I thought round 2, which I scored for Rodriguez, was also close. So we've got some swing rounds already. It's that kind of fight. It's flash versus substance.
Let go, Mercito, let go.
This feels certainly like a very close fight.
Speed, fluidity, athleticism against fundamentals and volume.
I was going to say, it's close overall through 5 rounds, but each round around feels very close as well. All right, that left coming in for Hesta. Not much behind it.
Watch the forearm, Juan. Watch the forearm.
Juan Rodriguez getting the warning, but head's getting close too after the headbutt in the last round.
Hesta does seems to be lacking a little bit of spark. I don't want to call him sluggish, but there's not his usual edge. And I have to wonder if he struggled making, attempting to make the lightweight limit. You were at the weigh-in?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, what did he look like when he stepped on the scales? I mean, he's 3 pounds over.
Yeah, he did, but he was walking around gingerly, and he obviously disappointed for not making weight. He was aware of that, but he did mention he may have mistimed the weight drop, as he did not match it as he did in past fights. Good combination. Not lagging on the power, but getting some points there on Rodriguez.
And if you notice, Hesta's taking some deep breaths. And while Rodriguez is working a lot, it's not like a torrid pace.
No.
It's not hard pressure from Rodriguez.
And as Beto was mentioning, that Rodriguez said Hesta has a pretty pedestrian pace, and that's the pace we've seen come. As there you see the wife of Mercito.
Rodriguez is setting the pace, and he's working the body. Maybe that's taken something off of Hesta, but I have to wonder if Hesta stepped into the ring tonight not quite feeling himself because of yesterday's struggle to make weight.
Yep. By the way, the life of a wife of a boxer, it is tough. And seen her husband on the receiving end of a lot of punches from Rodriguez. That continues here at the tail end of round 6. Very fatigued punches there from Hesta. Ducks under the pressure as the end of round 6. So Freddie Roach was happier after rounds 4 or 5, but Hesta getting to his corner looking much worse for wear.
Dame agua. El trapo. Ya lo mojaste. ¿Sí lo mojaste? Lo debes de mojar, ¿eh? Ya lo estás agarrando. Trabájalo más a la distancia. Trabájalo a la distancia. ¿Ya le puso acá? ¿No? ¿Aquí? ¿Ya te puso?
Ya. So you don't sleep. ¿Dónde la protector, güey?
El protector.
Dame agua, dame agua, dame agua.
Ya lo estás agarrando. Cuando lo tengas así en la esquina, gíralo y lo contrarrematas.
Warning of holding too much from Rodriguez's corner to make more impact as we see the review of round 6.
Hesta rushing Rodriguez, backing him up, but not really landing anything of note. Rodriguez, I thought, landed the better punches that round, usually the left hand.
Let's see if Hesta can hit a second wind, potentially a third wind here as we begin round 7. 7 of 10. Main event here, Thursday night fights. Better from Hesta. Combination that comes upstairs. Working the body again. There's that opening.
Not a lot on that jab from Hesta. Not snapping it. And when he is able to land a good headshot, It's usually just one punch, but he doesn't jump on Rodriguez. He doesn't take the initiative after landing something significant.
All right, Beto Duran's getting down to the nitty-gritty here.
And they told him in the corner, Rodriguez, we're not at home. You need to close this out. Don't give anything away. Put more pressure on Hesta. They said that he's tired. And Doug, just like I told you earlier, Hesta is looking at the clock, and between rounds, he was sitting down on his stool, looking up at a replay screen to see how much time he had left there. So he looks gassed. This is the worst conditioning-wise you and I have seen him in a while.
I would agree with that. And I noticed that at the end of the last round. He's
looking up.
Yeah, he's looking at the screen. I don't know if he's looking at himself or
hoping to buy a few more seconds if possible.
Yeah, looking at the clock. But I don't like that. I think a fighter needs to be 100% focused on the man in front of him.
If they were going to award a winner here on body language, Rodriguez wins. But that's not just the data here. And Hesta's father's face, I mean, it's looked like he's seen something different from his son, and not what he wants to see. Hesta missed on top, catches the body, trying to get downstairs a little more frequently here in round 7. And then he's a stationary target. Rodriguez unfurls. A little left there by Hesta coming up with the uppercut. Difficult moment for the Hesta contingent in the corner. And a body shot from Hesta.
Yeah, his body shots have more on it than his head shots at this point, although that was a nice left.
Kind of came out of nowhere, it worked, but now the hooks and the crosses coming in thick and fast.
Yeah, as both men are beginning to fatigue, they're slugging it out more.
There is an opening for one of these two guys. Hesta leaving himself unprotected, hoping the head movement, but he's getting caught there.
It's a very close round.
Lots of activity. End of round 7. Last impression time here, round 7. Rodriguez pushes. All right, let's see. Hesta again. First thing, Dougie sat down and he looked up at the screen.
Good, bro. You got that round, bro. Come on. You need these rounds.
The jab was beautiful that round. Nice jab, beautiful combinations. Good job. All right, jacking him up. All right, good. You're a lot fresher than this guy. Let's get it. Walk him down. Be first with that jab, okay? All right. You going to him with that jab, okay? The body shots are beautiful. Body shots are really, really working well. Break this guy down. Come on, let's go. Deep breath. Yeah, bro.
Seconds out. Let's go. You got this, bro. All your heart.
Dougie again, he looked at that screen the whole time.
Yeah.
And you'd know more than I would about is he looking for maybe something's that worked or?
You know, I don't think he's feeling it tonight.
No.
And he's just looking at that clock thinking, how many more rounds do I have? How many more minutes do I have to endure this?
Freddie Roach talking to him, and he's looking up. Roach saying that he liked the body shot, so I imagine we might see a lot more of that. And the jab's working too. Dougie's scorecards through 7. It's been a point through it since the beginning.
Nip and tuck battle. It's an interesting clash of styles and mentalities. And really, I think the fight is up for grabs. If Rodriguez has another gear, I think now's the time to step on it.
And as Beto pointed out, Rodriguez's corner saying, hey, you're not at home. Go get it. Good left. The corner like that punch from Rodriguez.
Yeah, Rodriguez has found a home for the left hand all fight. I agree with Freddie Roach that the body work is effective from Hesta, and that was a nice right that Hesta landed. And then Hesta needs to keep going down to the body of Rodriguez. He wants to slow this guy down. This guy is the workhorse. This guy is the more consistent of the two offensively for 3 minutes, and he wants to slow that down. He can slow down the work rate of Rodriguez. Maybe that enables Hesta to get into his rhythm, move around and pot shot and get into his usual style.
It's interesting, Freddie Roach said the body shots work, and the body shots disappeared in this round from Hesta. Maybe Rodriguez is protecting that part of his body a little better, but not the volume we saw from Hesta earlier. There's the opportunity, does come up to the body. Rodriguez responds, catches Hesta with the left.
Stop punching. Stop punching. Don't hit him back there. Don't hit him. I see you.
All right. Back at it. They got separated. Last minute of round number 8. Round 8 of 10 here in our main event.
I think Rodriguez is feeling that layoff that he had, the near 2-year layoff. He's kind of feeling it. Yeah. I'm back in a fight, and it is a fight.
It's hard to keep all that wind in your lungs if you're not fighting. Only fighting can give you that kind of conditioning.
Yeah, you see it on his face, not just the wear and tear of the punches, but just that burn of fatigue in his lungs right now.
Really, perhaps a crossroads here for Mercito Hesta. He's got 2 rounds and change to go. A win certainly props him back up in the direction he wants. A loss, and who knows, he slips into the Neverland. It's a tough business.
And this is another tough round to score.
Last-ditch effort in round 8 from Hesta. Good scoring punches there. All right, great action coming your way on Golden Boy. You don't have to wait very long. About 9 days for Ryan Garcia and Jose Lopez live on DAZN from the Fantasy Springs Resort Casino, and I can tell you, sold out. So you have to watch it on DAZN. Lots of good fights leading up to May 4th.
Absolutely. Jaime Munguia is I mean, he's much-watched TV or must-tune-in stream. There's always room in boxing for a standout from Tijuana, Mexico. And there's a lot of really good fighters on that Garcia-Lopez undercard, including Acosta, the guy from Puerto Rico, the junior, I think he's a flyweight or junior flyweight WBO champion. Very good fighter.
And worth mentioning, Thursday night fights, Thursday, April 25th from the Fantasy Springs Resorts Casino. If we could coin a phrase for much-watched TV, but with regards to a stream, there could be a nice dollar sign amount to it.
You got to have it rhyme with stream, though. Must-screen stream, I don't know.
I like it. We'll work on it.
We'll work on it.
Doug, if you can coin it, I'm telling you, there's some money in it. And I get 10%.
You be my copyright lawyer.
All right, round 9 in a tightly contested fight. Rodriguez there takes the center, now throws the punches. But much more active defensively, Hesta, he responds with that left. All right, round 9, business end. Beto Duran joining us.
And fellas, you were talking about the inactivity for Rodriguez between fights. Part of that had to do, one, he took a couple months off himself, but then once he was ready to fight, guys were staying away from him. He had a couple fights lined up, and then like, wait a minute, he's left-handed? Nah. Oh, wait a minute, he actually hits hard for this division? Nah. And Doug, you know this, with his record, you can't match up a prospect with him because that's dangerous. So he said that he was inactive. He would go to the gym, but it's hard to get up for training all the time when you don't have a fight. And then when you do have a fight, it falls out. So he said he learned the mental anguish of going through these things. So when Hesta came to him, he jumped on it right away. But this is still hard territory for him because he hasn't fought 10 rounds in a long time. You can train for one thing, but when you're actually in there fighting, it's way different.
Training without a fight, that's got to be a hard slog.
Yeah, especially, when guys get older and they're as well-traveled as Rodriguez, they want a reason to train. Yeah. And just financially as well. If you're not fighting, you're not making money, so you got to go out there and get a regular 9 to 5. You got to feed your family.
Rodriguez, much more punches thrown, not as accurate, and you can see some good footwork from Hesta here, especially defensively. He has 4 minutes here to make that impression in a very close fight.
Yeah, Hesta's trying to recapture his usual form here in round 9, and I think he's doing a pretty decent job of doing it.
He looks better. He looks better in round 9. He looks a little more sprite in his step. Rodriguez, and as we touched on, Dougie and Beto about the layoff, you can see some of those signs coming into view.
Tell you what, Hesta really good. And he hasn't avoided all the shots, but I like watching him slip.
Oh, he got caught!
That hurt him. That was a temple shot.
It completely stopped Hesta. Now Hesta fighting for survival. But Rodriguez can't get a clean shot to follow up. Oh, he did there! Hesta on wobbly street.
Better show me something.
And I was just saying, I like Hesta's head movement. I like the way he slips punches. He gets clipped right to the temple and has affected his equilibrium. And in a round that he was winning, he now loses.
Referee telling Hesta he stopped the fight.
What?
He stopped the fight with seconds remaining in the 9th round.
Hey, this is the night of upsets.
Wow. Survive and advance.
Hey, no home cooking here. No setup fights. These guys, even the favorites, they were in tough tonight. And the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the way these fights ended. Tino Avila held to a draw. Ferdinand Korobian taking the first L of his professional career. And now Mercito Gesta stopped for the very first time in his professional career.
And it was that one punch that changed everything. Completely stopped Hesta standing still. But we'll talk about that. We're talking about this stoppage.
I thought he could survive. I thought he could survive the round.
I thought he was being an active defender.
Yeah.
But unbelievable finish here. Unbelievable night.
Kudos to Rodriguez.
Rodriguez overcome with emotion. Good for him. Brought to tears there inside the ring at Avalon Hollywood. What a way to start Thursday night fights.
Yeah, poor Hesta. Mercito looks a little shell-shocked there. This must all seem very surreal to him.
You look shell-shocked.
I am.
I
I thought he was going to survive the end of the round. I really did.
All right, let's take a look. And we were early on in round 9, Hesta looking as good as he had looked in 2 or 3 rounds, but then he got hurt.
See, there was a right cross,
right
and then
there.
there's the left, and I believe the left landed right on the ear. The knees buckled, but Hesta had the wherewithal to remain on his feet, to keep his balance. He's covering up, the hands are up, they're not down, and we're going to see a better angle. Oh, that was right on the cheekbone, that was right on the jaw.
He left himself open.
Yeah, so it wasn't an equilibrium shot. That was a shot that just hurt him to the jaw and took his legs away a little bit, and I guess he's not firing back. His hands are up, but they're kind of weak.
He threw a punch there.
Yeah, he did throw a punch.
No.
You know, I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to second guess the referee because he's right up in there, and he can look into the eyes of Hesta and see if Hesta's really awake or not.
Zachary Young, the referee, did say, we heard it on the mics to Hesta, show me something about 20 seconds before he stopped. So
and he's a really good referee, I should say. I don't want to second guess him. I just thought it was close enough to the end of the round that Hesta could survive.
Yeah, and it was, but the eyes of Hesta speak volumes.
Yes, and the fighter's safety should come first, always.
30th win for Juan Rodriguez, and the biggest to see where it could take him, and the kiss to seal it all. Wonderful images there between 2 great fighters. All right, you can see Juan Rodriguez. If we got to round 10, we might have been touching 1,000 punches from him. And he landed about the same, but he landed the biggest punch of the night.
Exactly, and the punch that counted. It was a nip and tuck battle. It was hotly contested. I thought Hesta was on his way to winning the 9th round until he got clipped, until he got caught. He was the more accurate fighter. Juan Rodriguez was the workman in there.
What a win. What a surprise. The official announcement, let's go to Jeremiah.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee, Zachary Young, puts a wave and a halt to this bout. The official time comes to you at 2:55 in round number 8. For your winner by KO, ladies and gentlemen, hailing from Mexico City, Juan Zurdo Hermoso Rodriguez.
Gracias a todos.
All right, Juan Rodriguez, the winners. Let's go inside the ring with Beto Duran.
Oh, here he is. They're taking off the... There you go. Zach Young gets their hand up in the air. Vete, Juan. I told you, if you win, you're going to get the interview in English. So you practice your English, right? How do you feel?
First of all, I want to thank God. I want to thank my sponsors back home, Fernando Espino, father and son. I wouldn't be here without them. I want to thank them for their support. And back to the fight, I just felt it was a matter of time. Keep hitting him into the body until he collapsed, until he finally did.
A year and a half layoff. Your trainer and your management was telling me that sometimes you'd have fights, they'd fall down. That you kept going to the gym, not knowing if you're going to fight anybody. Mercito Gesta comes up, you jumped on the opportunity, and your corner told you need to stop him porque estás en Los Angeles, no vas a ganar. You're not going to win here, and you win and did that. Was that the intention in that round?
Of course, I was offered to fight Gamboa. I was offered to fight also Juan Lopez. They didn't step to the table. Like I said, man, it was just a matter of time until he was going to quit. He did.
You felt like he was going to quit?
Of course. That's what he did because he just stopped throwing punches. So he quit.
All right, what's the story with here's the muscle, you have the lipstick, what was it, el beso, ¿qué es eso?
Yeah, it's a kiss. I usually do this every time when the weighing is done. Every time I make weight, I do that, and it's the seal of the house.
Well, here it is. You get the stoppage over Mercito Gesta. Otro beso, do it. Why not? Enjoy it. There it is. Max, the kiss, the victory. Back to you.
The kiss to seal the deal. Hey, it works. Get a copyright on that. He's a winner tonight. And hats off to our Mexican fighter with the working knowledge of English and handling the tough questions from Beto Duran.
That was a good interview.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, I'd like to see rematches. I wouldn't mind seeing a rematch between Gesta and Rodriguez. I wouldn't mind, definitely want to see a rematch between Cobbs and Ferdinand Korobian. But it's official. I'm going to buy those shoes. I'm going to find out that brand. I'm buying those Nikes, man.
Did we bury the lead? Yeah, it is the shoes.
I'm serious. I'm going to get those shoes. Oh, my goodness.
You know, go bucking the trend of needing your boxing boots. He had those cross trainers or whatever you would want to call them, and it worked. No footing issues at all from him, and he caught it. All right, so we put a bow on our night here at Avalon Hollywood. Here are the upcoming DAZN fights. Munguia Estrada, I know we touched on a little bit. That's Saturday, April 13th. That's going to be a fun fight as well.
He's all action, and he's in against a tough challenger who's going to come in there and give it his all. And like I said, you just got to watch Munguia. He's a lot of fun. I haven't seen him in a boring fight. So.
Yeah. We also have those two Bellator fights of Combate Americas coming up on DAZN, and the Thursday night fights. Mark your calendar. Every month through 2019, we will have them here for you on Golden Boy with the partnership with DAZN. It's going to be a great partnership. If you don't have DAZN, get it now. Great deal if you get it a year in advance.
I mean, listen, if you get DAZN, you're getting pay-per-view level fights like Canelo Alvarez versus Daniel Jacobs. And you get more than just that. You get all of those wonderful combat sports, Combate Americas. You get Bellator, that show that they got from the Forum, April 26th.
That's right.
Sri Saket Sor Rungvisai, the rematch with Juan Francisco Estrada. Their first fight was a Fight of the Year candidate, and you know the rematch is going to be just as good.
And we know you love combat sports, but when you talk about DAZN, I mean, they're going to have a whole group of sports coming on there. The sky's the limit. They have some big plans, so get in now so you don't miss any of that great action. So you take away, Dougie, what we saw here. I imagine it heads towards that co-main event. Those are the kind of fights that you hope to see, and we were here present to see it ringside.
Right. Well, it's one of those fights that it looks great on paper. You know, you got an undefeated 21-year-old from, local who's going to bring in the crowd, and he's looked invincible so far. And then you got a guy who's a bit older, but we haven't seen a lot of him. The guy from Philadelphia by way of Las Vegas, Blair Cobbs, looks the part, but it delivered. They showed up and they gave us that type of action.
The showman and the fighter, and it'll be fun to see what's next for Cobbs, what's next for all these fighters that we saw on this card. We are out of time. It's been a thrill to be here with you on Avalon Hollywood. Golden Boy Thursday Night Fights brought to you by DAZN. Pay-per-view is dead. Watch Canelo versus Jacobs May the 4th exclusively on DAZN. Sign up today. And by Tecate, the official beer of boxing. All right, social media's been active. We really enjoy your participation. The Golden Boy production team working hard behind the scenes to bring you Thursday night fights live on ringtv.com, #GBXDAZN. And to all those guys in the truck, ladies in the truck, thank you for everything you do. It's been a fun night, and it went beautifully. Okay. Tino Avila, this is the Tino Avila at the beginning. Not his normal fruitful self, but hey, he did get the win, and this one blew the doors off.
Yeah, well, Avila had his hands full, and he didn't get the win. He had to settle for a draw.
Correct, sorry.
This fight,
we had
blood
a winner.
and guts, man. You know, Karobian delivered the blood and guts, and Cobbs delivered the best performance of his pro career. But it didn't come easy. I mean, that 8th round was sensational. He did not come out unscathed.
You'll get a chance to
But he came out victorious. Look at that.
If you didn't see it, tell your friends so they can stream that fight.
Gotta watch that.
To the main event. It went along.
Lands right.
It
on
seemed
the
like
right
Hesta
ear.
was on his way after what happened in round 9-10, and then that happened.
This is why we love boxing. This is why they fight the fights. And we said at the start of the broadcast that Oscar De La Hoya wanted to put the fighters in tough. We did not describe a guy like Rodriguez as some kind of journeyman, some kind of career opponent. We described him as a gatekeeper. Hesta did not get through those gates tonight.
No, the gates are closed, but LA is open. That'll do it for us tonight. Don't miss Ryan Garcia and Jose Lopez, March the 30th, live on DAZN. For Doug Fisher, Beto Duran, and our entire Golden Boy team, I'm Max Bredos. Buenas noches.